And we are back. Another beautiful day, man, in the Waterboyz Show. What's up, B Rich? Everything good?
Yeah, it's a beautiful day, but it's a cloudy day.
Hey, man, but
cloudy, beautiful day.
But you know, it's always beautiful, no matter what,
right,
man. Because even when it's cloudy,
God woke us up.
Hey, man, exactly. And even when it's cloudy, we always shining here at the Waterboyz Show.
Shining like an emerald.
You know what I mean? So listen, before we get all the way into what's happening today, we have to do a little house business. Everybody out there that's within earshot right now that's listening to the Waterboyz Show, whether you're listening to the audio, whether you're catching us on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, wherever you finding us right now, on X, wherever you are finding us, make sure you like, share, subscribe. If you're catching us on Apple Podcasts or catching us on Spotify, please leave us some comments. Please leave us a 5-star rating. What that does is that's called digital currency, right? Show us some support. We give you that support back. Those comments, that 5-star rating, it helps our visibility rise up in the algorithm, my guy, and it helps more people and more fans of these blood pressure birds of the Atlanta Hawks, Braves, or whatever, or just sports, period, find our podcast. So help us to help you by putting us in a position to keep giving you this great sports content to the best of our ability. Man, you know what I mean?
I will say, man, like, since you've been telling people to leave comments, man, they've been leaving comments on Spotify and Apple, man.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, look, y'all also make sure you follow on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. Follow us and on all the other social medias as well. But definitely, I notice when we tell people what to do, they do it.
Yeah, but you know, listen, when you give people a reason to give you that support, man, it's like the old Chris Rock thing when he says, if you see somebody break down on the side of the road and they just stand there leaning up against their car, nobody helps. But if they see somebody pushing the car on the highway, a bunch of people going to pull over and try to give them a hand. Okay. So when we ask people to give us that support, they see what we're doing. Yeah. They see the need that we have, and they want to give us that support. So we appreciate all y'all. And then after you do that, make sure you go to 285clothing.com and get you some of this Blood Pressure Birds merchandise. These Blood Pressure Birds are stressing me out. You see that, Myles?
That looks good.
Yeah, man. Good. Yeah, man. We have coined and named the Atlanta Falcons the Blood Pressure Birds because whether the game goes up or it goes down.
Stressing you out.
Hey, man, stresses our blood pressure out. So make sure y'all go to 285clothing.com. Get you some Blood Pressure Birds merch, some Waterboyz Show merch. Just support the show in every which way that you can. Look, and now we done with all the house business.
One other thing. Shout out to Jay Black, man, for leaving us super chats on the YouTube last week. Appreciate you, man. YouTube comments wasn't coming up on our thing, so we weren't able to really highlight it, man. So we want to shout you out. And there's one other guy, I shot him out this
Z Corp.
Z Corp. Yeah.
Z Corp Alpha.
Yeah, Z Corp Alpha. Thank you, bro. Thank you for the super chats. We'll be back up and running this Monday.
Yeah, man. Listen, and now that we got in the house business out the way, it's time to get to our guest, man.
Who's our guest, man?
Listen,
we
man.
got a guest?
Oh, yeah. We brought a guest today, man. We brought us a guest today. So listen, when people hear the name, right? When people hear the name Myles Garrett, right?
Yeah, they sack leader
like
Cleveland.
That's what they think about, right?
That's what I thought.
They instantly think about
sack record.
Yes, he has the sack record, the NFL sack record, single season
He's
sack
here with us
record.
today?
Well, you know what? He's not here with us today, but guess what? We do have the Fox leader in the best information that you can find about Atlanta sports here with us today, and it's not just one single season, all right? He always hitting us off with the real good info, so we don't have the single season sack leader, Myles Garrett, but we have one of Georgia's own, one of Atlanta's own, one of Fox 5's own greatest people giving you that sports information that you love, Myles Garrett from Fox Sports Atlanta. Give it up.
Let's go.
Hey, let me ask you, do y'all still do
y'all still
do the 5?
It's in your face. Come on now.
Yes, man.
Yeah, we've been doing that for years. That's our brand.
Yeah. Do you do any of the high school stuff?
We do High Five Sports every Friday. I'm kind of the bunker guy that's sort of downstairs and kind of does the highlight reads and writes up stuff on our little brackets for playoff time. So yeah, that's our biggest brand, High Five Sports.
Man, when my nephew played, my nephew is David is 38 now. He went to South Gwinnett, and then he finished his last year at North Gwinnett. And I couldn't wait to rush home after his games on Friday, especially if like he'd have a 2-touchdown or a 3-touchdown game. Because my nephew, like, he could play. He was really good. I would rush home to see Fox 5 talk about David every single time. I just loved when my guy would do that, and then he talk about David. I used to feel a little special. You know what I'm
in
saying?
your face, man. Yeah, I mean, we talk about these different guys that are in the NFL now. You know, we'll go to Super Bowls now. Like we talked to Sean McVay a few years ago at the Super Bowl. He remembers us. You know,
That's
it's
awesome.
something that we really kind of set our groundwork with some of these young athletes who were just 18, you know, or 16 at some point in high school that, you know, they remember that. You know, they remember when they first got coverage at High Five Sports. So it means a lot, and it means a lot to the community. So we really love doing it.
Yeah, man. Well, it's representing the city and it's representing everything around us. So I appreciate y'all for keeping that trend going. There are a lot of people, and like I said, you just heard one here who really appreciate it, man. Really appreciate it.
Hey, Myles, what's up, man? So I want to talk about the Atlanta Falcons.
Let's
man.
do it.
And
Let's
so,
do it.
When we hired our coach Kevin Stefanski, man, I went on a rant and I was very upset. It ended up going viral.
Seems like a lot of people were.
It ended up getting like 260,000 views, and I said some things because I was pretty upset and didn't understand. But now time has gone by. I'm watching what they're doing. I feel a lot more comfortable. Can you tell me why or why not? Was this the right hire for the Falcons? Why did the Falcons get Kevin Stefanski, and what was Matt Ryan and the organization thinking?
No, for sure. I mean, as we all know now, it's Matt Ryan's show, right? The president of football. We were there for Arthur Blank's press conference before Matt Ryan was even announced. And, you know, he was talking about what Sportsology group, that was the group that they brought in to sort of dissect what was going on with this team. It was kind of midway through the Falcon season this past year. And they said the biggest thing was lack of vision, lack of direction for where this team was going. So I think that was the biggest thing that they wanted to keep in mind with this hiring process. Now, in regards to Kevin Stefanski, I do think that John Harbaugh was the primary focus, and I think he was the primary focus for everybody, right?
Okay.
But when he went to New York, I do think the mindset was he wasn't going to leave New York. I think New York was going to give him all power and everything, and I think that's kind of eventually what happened up there in New York. But outside of him, it seemed like Kevin Stefanski was always the guy from the jump, and I get where some fans are coming from. I really do. When it comes to, you know, you look at Kevin Stefanski in a vacuum, you see the record, right? 8 wins in the last 2 years, you know, how he handled the quarterback situation this past season. I get all of that. But the man has been the only guy to get Cleveland to the playoffs this millennium, right? He's
true.
the only guy to do that. 2-time coach of the year. I understand that he has some experience. I do look at the situation he had in Cleveland sort of with the grain of salt, just sort of where he come from and what he was working with, the Deshaun Watson contract, all those different factors that were involved that kind of hindered roster growth, for lack of a better term. So in that regard, yeah, I don't think that it was as bad of a hire when it comes to you look at where he exactly was coming from. Now, outside of that, I do think sort of a bigger question mark might be Tommy Rees, the offensive coordinator, because he has a little bit of lack of experience, right? I mean, I was back in South Bend covering Notre Dame, and at that point, he was the quarterback's coach there.
I was going to ask
And
you about that.
even a lot of Notre Dame fans at that point were, you know, a little iffy at that point. Brian Kelly was the guy back then, and there were some question marks. He obviously was the quarterback there, and he you know, was sort of rising through the ranks pretty quickly, and he had his stint in Alabama. A lot of Alabama fans weren't too satisfied, I think, for lack of a better term. But Nick Saban gave him a ringing endorsement, and I think endorsements by Nick Saban certainly mean quite a bit. And, you know, we saw what he did in Cleveland this past year. Not a lot to be desired. You know, took over play calling toward the end of the season. We did confirm from Kevin Stefanski that Tommy is going to be the guy calling the plays this year, so that's going to be interesting to watch. But what I really like from what Kevin Stefanski is doing with this new staff is he's bringing along a lot of guys that are experienced in play calling. The Falcons didn't have that the past couple of seasons. You look back when Raheem was hired. Raheem had been a head coach before, but it had been a long time. And you look at the coordinators he brought on. Zach Robinson came from the McVay tree, but didn't have any offensive coordinator play calling experience. You look at Jimmy Lake. He had never done that at the NFL level. You bring in Jeff Ulbrich. A lot of success comes. He's been a defensive coordinator before. So what I like now that's not Zach Robinson, what Kevin Stefanski is bringing on is he's bringing on a lot of play callers. You know, you look at the passing game coordinator. He was up there with the Jets. He was the passing game coordinator with the Lions when they were doing really well. He has offensive coordinator experience with the Jets. And I've spoken to a lot of Jets fans about this, actually, and they say, wasn't his fault when it comes to what was going on.
Okay.
There. This was a really good hire. And you look at the offensive line now. I'm already forgetting his name. He's Bill Callahan, considered the best offensive line coach arguably in NFL history. You know, the Falcons have a very talented offensive line. It's a little bit older, but I think he's bringing on a lot of experience. So I think the bottom line with what he's doing for such a young offensive roster right now, they need some good coaching. They need some experienced coaching. They don't need first-time play callers, and I really like that's what Stefanski's bringing. I do think quarterback's going to be the big question mark with what this team's going to do. We spoke to Ian Cunningham, who, by the way, really like Ian Cunningham.
Yeah, we're going to get into that.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a second. But, yeah, all of that considered, this roster's really young. The quarterback, we're still going to figure out Michael Penix Jr.'s health. But I do like the experience that Stefanski's bringing with all these different coaches.
Yeah, so you kind of answered what we were thinking about Reese bringing in experience. One other thing I do want to ask you is this. You said how he handled the quarterback situation in Cleveland. All right, hearing him talk in Atlanta, his demeanor seems to be really cool. In Cleveland, you never got a chance. Well, I never got a chance to really hear him speak. Is this a propaganda by the PR, or is this really true? Is he really going to develop quarterbacks? Because our thing was, we looked from the outside looking in. When Dylan Gabriel got his first win, he didn't get the game ball. Maybe he didn't deserve it. When Shedeur Sanders won, he didn't get the game ball. Maybe he didn't deserve it. But me and Trey are big on developing the quarterback.
Sure.
Those are things that helps the confidence of a quarterback. So when you hear him talking, he's like, "Oh, I love those guys." I went in the extra work when the lady came on, the reporter came on, Dukes and Bell, and talked about how he worked with the quarterbacks extra and all of this. So is that really who he is, or was Cleveland kind of like just no man's land?
Yeah, I saw that report. Didi Kinkawala, she's a very respected reporter up there in Cleveland, very much in the know. And frankly, I think that was a really telling interview. I listened to that interview as well, and talking about, because the whole mindset of what Stefanski was doing up there was, he's trying to sabotage these quarterbacks. He's not giving them the time. They've had no starting reps. And I hear that, but also, you look at a head coach. I wouldn't imagine that a head coach is trying to actively sabotage his own team. I mean, he's trying to save his job at the end of the day. He doesn't know that he's going to get another opportunity in the NFL. So, yeah, like those reports were saying, he had 5 different quarterbacks on that roster. You look at the very beginning of the season. You had Flacco, you had Gabriel, you had Sanders, you had Kenny Pickett.
I forgot Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, everyone forgets Kenny Pickett.
He got traded.
Yeah, you had Kenny Pickett. You had there was one more. Oh, Deshaun Watson. We always forget about him as well. So I think he was putting us in a position, and again, the draft as well. You draft Dylan Gabriel, and then you draft Shedeur. It just seemed like a really
that whole thing was weird.
It was very weird. Yeah. So I think the big thing, and I think yesterday, Matt Ryan and Ian Cunningham both sort of put Stefanski in a good position here where they kind of gave him the reins, in regards to how he wants his team to be constructed. Because I do think the way things were organized in Cleveland and the way Aditi Kinkawala sort of explained that was that there was a lot of things happening up there that were out of his control or not necessarily what he wanted. There was the whole Baker argument with him, that he wanted Baker out of here. Now, true or not, I don't know. This is what she reported, that he did want Baker Mayfield on his team. Baker obviously had what he had to say on social media responding to D-Led. But yeah, I mean, it just seems like a mess. Yeah, I mean, just the ownership up there. And I think you've seen it right with what Cleveland's had to do with their own coaching search, right? You've had so many guys just straight up say no to the interviews. I mean, they get Todd Monken, shout out to Georgia, the former offensive coordinator. Yeah, we got to get him back down here to Athens, but no.
That's what I was hoping.
Yeah, I know, right?
Trey says not because of his coaching ability, because of the organization. He'll be back in Georgia in 2 years.
Well, I mean, I'm wishing for the best for Todd, but yeah, I mean, based on what's going on up there in Cleveland, I wouldn't be. It's a little bit of a revolving door, but yeah, I mean, Stefanski. You look at any situation in life, right? You want to look at a second chance. A lot of different coaches get a second chance. Not a lot do, but some do as well. And I think he's certainly taken advantage of it. He's spoken a lot to us in one-on-one interviews about things he's taken from Cleveland, things he doesn't want to do anymore in Cleveland, things that he's learned. And, you look at things like with Raheem Morris, it's sort of the same thing. Obviously, you want a little bit better than what Raheem offered us, but it was a similar circumstance in that, you saw what Raheem had to deal with in Tampa Bay back then, when he was a young coach. There were things that were out of his control that he certainly did better this time around, but I think the same thing kind of applies for Kevin Stefanski.
Well, look, let me ask you this. We spoke about, what was said about the quarterback position. So a couple things I want to talk about when it comes to the quarterback position. What would you say to the portion of the fan base that has already given up on Michael Penix? Because there is a portion that they're already done with him. They think we should move on. They don't think he's the quarterback. What would you say to them?
Well, I'll preface it with this. I understand why they think that. Is it too early? Yes. I think it's absolutely too early. This is a guy that you haven't really seen a full season's worth of ability, right? I mean, you saw him for 4 games the end of his rookie year. You saw him for a handful of games this past year. And my big thing with him is the coaching. I think that's the biggest factor with him, because you saw when he would drop, and specifically this season, because I think at the very end of his rookie year, he showed so many flashes to where you were like, okay, we got the guy. Like, this is the dude. You know, the downfield throws, that's why they drafted him, the Matthew Stafford comparisons. But this year in particular, I think the coaching aspect for him really was highlighted, because you see the dropbacks. You're not seeing him go under center. To me, the big thing, and I've spoken with DJ Shockley about this too, is the footwork. And I think that was a big thing that was noticeable a lot is, you know, you see him drop back and he has so much arm talent. It was almost like he was relying so much on his arm and not kind of going through the mechanics of dropping back, setting his feet, and kind of being comfortable there in the pocket. And obviously we know all the conversation with the pistol sets and, you know, the criticism there with Zach Robinson. Yeah. But no, I mean, I think you hate to call it a make or break year with Michael Penix Jr. because he's still so young in the system. I know he's an older guy for a rookie
still
quarterback
young as far as experience in the NFL.
Exactly, but I think the big thing with Michael is going to be his health, because he already had 100%. Those concerns coming out of college. Now he's got another torn ACL. He says he's going to be ready for the start of the season. You know, you hope you take his word for it, but I mean, your biggest availability is availability, right?
100%.
So that's going to be the biggest thing with him.
Can't make the club in the tub, isn't that what they say?
If he gets hurt again this year, then I think the question marks and the criticism will be a little bit louder, because you can't have your starting quarterback be on the bench.
So look, let me bring something else up. I think it was kind of funny, and I actually saw Carl and Mike speak on this, Dukes and Bell. It's funny, like, what national media ran with after yesterday's press conference. It's already out there going across national media that Matt Ryan's non-committal to Michael Penix. Matt Ryan does not want Michael Penix. Did you get anything like that out of the press conference?
No, absolutely not. I mean, it makes for a good soundbite, right? I was there when Mark Zinno asked that question, and it's a question I think it was a good way, the way he responded to that question, because it doesn't put, and this kind of speaks to what I was talking about with Kevin Stefanski and why maybe Atlanta was an appealing fit for him with how the power structure goes. He's not putting Stefanski in a bad position with this, because if you're saying, Michael Penix Jr., we are committed to this, you are putting Kevin Stefanski in a box where you're like, okay, I got to force the issue maybe at times. I don't think that's the case. Do they want Michael Penix Jr. to work out and be their starting quarterback? Yes. Arthur Blank has made that very apparent. I think Matt Ryan has made that apparent as well. But you're also not putting yourself in a box to where, you know, say he isn't ready, and say you get another quarterback who comes in, you know, vet minimum deal, whoever that might be, that comes in and plays pretty well. You know, you don't want to put the coach in a position where you're like, man, I got to put Penix out there, even when maybe it may not be the best move for this team right now. They want Michael Penix Jr. to be the guy. Make no mistake about that. But I think that statement was more along the lines of, we don't want to constrict ourselves.
Box him in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's funny. I was gonna bring that up, that me and Trey always on the same wavelength. One thing that I do feel good about, and I'm gonna go into something else. I'm just gonna make this point. When I was upset about the Kevin Stefanski hire, the positive was Matt Ryan. I'm like, I'm trusting Matt Ryan. We're doing something different. Maybe this is gonna work. Now, to what you were saying about the defense of that, I think Matt Ryan was really just like giving his approval for Stefanski to pick the quarterback he wants. I didn't take it as, oh, we don't co-sign Penix. Yeah. And I mean, what they're trying to say is, and I heard some deeper thought into it, is like, in Chicago, everybody knows Caleb Williams is the guy. In Washington, everybody knows Jaden Daniels is the guy. And they're trying to make it that, but it's not that. Like, no, Matt Ryan didn't mean it like that, and they took it out of context, and I think that's wrong and unfair. And I do want to bring up another thing to kind of help out Stefanski. Is it was a rumor that his wife was either the daughter or the granddaughter of Tim McCarver, and a lot of people in the community thought that, and it's like, oh, that's why he was not playing Shedeur Sanders or whatever. But that's not the case at all.
Yeah,
D-Led hit us back and let us know it's not McCarver, it's McCarthy. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, a lot of people out here that's thinking that that's not true want to debunk that as well.
Yeah, I mean, you know, rumors fly, of course, and you always want to hear what you want to hear too when it comes to certain things like that. I mean, that's just the way social media, that viral posts can go sometimes. Like you said, that quote yesterday with Matt Ryan went viral, and you know, to your point, if Michael Penix Jr. was coming into this season fully healthy, I think that the answer would have been that. I think it would have been, hey, he's our guy. We're rolling with him. But a
he's
torn
not putting no pressure on Penix
it's
or
a
the
serious
coach.
injury, especially for a quarterback that has to drop back and has had multiple knee surgeries on 2 different legs now.
100%.
You're not boxing yourself in.
100%. Like you said, if he was coming in off a healthy season, I don't think it would be a question.
Yeah,
if
absolutely.
he was the guy or not. Because like you said, you don't want to box the coach into a situation because, once again, Kevin Stefanski on the outside looking in, I don't know what the Browns situation, but that would be a similar situation to what some people say he had with the Browns, being forced to do certain things. So Matt Ryan doesn't want to force it and throw it out there that, Mike Penix is 100% starting. Then now Stefanski, it doesn't matter what he evaluates or sees, he has to do it. I think Penix can win the job when healthy, but I like that Matt threw the ball back, volleyed it back, and said, hey, I'm going to let Kevin go ahead and serve. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to let him figure it out, and he's going to make the decision and pull the trigger on who's the quarterback going to be. But, national media, man, they ran with it.
Oh, yeah.
They ran,
and always looking for content,
Look, hey, I ran, and not just national. I ran into a couple people that I know and were like, see, Trey, I told you that Matt Ryan don't even want Mike Penix. I'm like, bro,
no.
That's not what happened. That's not what happened.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, so you was talking about, I want to talk about Raheem Morris. You said something earlier. You said Matt Ryan's decision to hire Kevin Stefanski was because of what? You said clear direction or clear.
Oh, yes. No,
vision.
yeah. So that was the big thing when Arthur Blank spoke to media about what did these groups that came in midway. Yeah, it said lack of vision, lack of clarity for the direction of this franchise. Okay. And that was said at length yesterday with Ian Cunningham's press conference. It's vision.
So now I want to go back to Raheem Morris. All right, so Raheem Morris was 1 field goal away, a missed field goal away, or a made field goal from making the playoffs, right? I like the hire of Raheem Morris after I heard him speak. Now, I think his downfall was hiring 2 inexperienced play callers, like you said before. Mm-hmm. So did he not have clear vision? What is it that a shot at Raheem? And I'm not defending Raheem, but I thought he should have been, I in the middle of the year, I thought he should have been fired. In the 4-game win streak, I kind of softened on that. But the Falcons were 1 field goal away from the playoffs. If he would have made it, he still would have been here. Did he not have lack of vision? What was his weakness to you?
It's tough because, those groups get a little bit more in-depth look than what we did, because they're in Flowery Branch every day. They're checking things out. They're seeing the day-to-day operations. They're sort of seeing that in-depth look. We're seeing the press conferences. We're seeing, 20 minutes of practice. We're not necessarily seeing that much in-depth, maybe what Sportsology got to see. But the thing with Raheem is you have such great wins, right? You have the Rams win. You have the Bills win, where you look like arguably one of the best teams in the NFL. I remember after that Bills game, Jordan Schultz, one of the best reporters in the game, he tweeted out, he's like, the Falcons need to be considered to be one of the best teams in the NFC. And at that point, I think a lot of people agreed with him. You just took down the Bills pretty, I don't want to say easily, on prime time, but you looked like the part. But then the next week you go out and lose to Carolina 30-0. I think it was that type of thing to where one week you look really, really good, then the next week, you lose to the Jets, you lose to the Bills, sort of just almost inexcusable type wins or inexcusable type things where you're like, man, this isn't sustainable. You can't have this sort of wishy-washy, flip-floppy thing that's going on with the franchise. So ultimately, I think that's what happened. And, you talk about that win streak at the end. To me, I think the decision was already made at that point, regardless of how Raheem finished. And, you look back at 2019, right? Dan Quinn finished with a winning streak at that point. It had been a lost season up to that point. And then, Arthur brings Dan back for another year, and they start the year 0-5. He gets fired. I think that was another thing that Arthur was scared of happening, and to have that situation again where that win streak at the end, when nothing else really mattered, kind of masked really what was going on with the team. So I think it was a fresh start, and I do think, again, I think Raheem Morris is an awesome guy. Terry Fontenot as well. I've had great interactions with both those guys. But I do think, and maybe you guys can speak to this, I really think that there came a point midway through the season where they lost the fan base.
Oh, they definitely did. And I'm going to say this to speak to the vision part. I think it was deeper than just Raheem. Yeah. I think it was more than just Raheem because it can be more than just the way Coach Morris was with the football team. What's the vision between him and Terry Fontenot together? How do they want to build it? And I think Rich McKay ended up catching a bullet from that as well. You know what I mean? Like he did. Like he got moved completely. Finally, like I don't know if he did that for PR purposes, but finally it was like he stated, y'all think Rich is involved? I'm gonna make sure we give him a title that he's no longer involved. I just think maybe the vision was lost just period, across how the team should be constructed, how the team should move forward, what should be done here, what should be done there. And, of course, like you said, we're not in those meetings. We don't know exactly what that is that sportsologist saw. But somewhere along the lines, for him to come back and they keep saying vision. Something has to be. But I'm going to tell you, yesterday now, if he follows through with everything that I heard yesterday, I'm seeing a vision already for where the Falcons can go, and that was Ian Cunningham.
Well, absolutely, and you also look back at like to your point, what you're saying as far as the hierarchy of power. I think that was another big element of it too. You look back at what it's been the past few years with Arthur and then Rich, and sort of that other group of people that maybe we don't even know what that group of people were and who was ultimately making those decisions. But I really think that the way they've organized the structure now, they've been very clear about it. It's head coach, it's GM, it's president of football, Matt Ryan, and Arthur Blank. That seems to be the direct line now, whereas before it was Arthur and it was a bunch of people. Is it Rich McKay? Is it Terry? Who's making all these decisions? It's true. Kind of the collaborative effort that they would always talk about.
They definitely made it clear.
Oh man, I know that's been a buzzword, but
I like Fontenot, some of the picks he made, but I also don't like some of the picks he made, like the trade in the 3rd round pick for Bolden.
The biggest thing with Terry, I think, that led to his demise, because you're right, he did make some very good picks, made some great free agency pickups as well. I think the biggest problem with Terry with some of his roster construction was the depth. I think that was an issue when guys would go down, there wouldn't be those guys that could step up and ultimately, it'd be the guys would step up and it'd be a problem. They'd have to kind of keep their head above water before that guy came back. So I think that was a big issue with Terry. But you're right. I mean, Terry did some great work, getting some first rounders and this, the past 2 draft classes alone, right? I mean, he got 3 guys that are all rookies essentially that, James Pierce, Jalen Walker, Xavier Watts, Billy Bowman even. Everyone forgets about him.
Yeah, Billy Bowman he had the Achilles injury, but he was on his way to being up there the same way as Xavier Watts is being looked at now. And I stated on our show when Coach Morris and Terry Fontenot got fired. I didn't think at the time Terry Fontenot should be let go. I do understand the quarterback position is what got him fired. That's what I believe got him fired. Along with, now that you brought up depth, I'm thinking about what you said. I could see that playing a huge role in it as well. But
because it goes back to Arthur too. I mean, Arthur couldn't figure out quarterback either. With that. I mean, ever since they haven't figured it out since Matt Ryan left, and that was a part of Arthur's thing. It was like, okay, we're gonna get Marcus Mariota to hold us over for a year, and then it's Desmond Ridder is our guy. There's no quarterback competition. We're throwing Dez out there,
and he's gonna get it done.
Yeah. Then there's Taylor Heineke. It's just been a revolving door. And then
about Taylor
you get Kirk Cousins, and then a month later you draft Penix, and I understand what that vision was. Do the Packers route.
That's probably the vision. They had no vision.
Yeah, exactly. So it just sort of seemed a revolving door of, okay, what is the plan, and is you're sticking to something and then changing it midway through the season. So I think that's kind of what happened.
Look, 2 years ago, I said the reason they were pulling the trigger on the Mike Penix draft pick, I said because Arthur Blank was feeling quarterback broke. you know what I mean.
No, I get it. Yeah,
you know what I mean by that.
When you have a few years of Desmond Ridder and Heineke, and you're like,
I
don't want to do this anymore. This is not fun.
There you go, Myles. Let me tell you, man. If you ever been broke, ladies and gentlemen, once you get some bread, you say, I am not going back. Going back to that.
One of these guys got to work out.
Yeah, I like nice tissue. I like nice paper towels. That what I'm saying. You don't have to use 4 of them just to dry your hands because they tear up. I like nice things. What I'm saying? Arthur Blank say, I'm not going to be quarterback broke ever again.
Hey, so I want to say this. I got into it last night, one of my close friends, man. So I want to ask y'all this. For GM strategy, right? Is it best player available or team needs? So hearing Cunningham talk about this, I agree with him. I like, and then for him to come from the lineage that he's come from,
that's the big
and those
thing with
teams
him.
He learned. That's what he learned from.
Okay, what did he say? Break down for the people what he said.
He said he likes to draft the best available athlete, not team needs. He said because you never know what your team's going to need. You may not need it this year, but next year you'll need that. So me and my partner that was talking on the phone, he's like, we need to get team needs. And I'm like, no, we need to get the best available athlete. Unless it's like you need a defensive tackle and then it's just running back. And they're both like at a 87, 86 grade. I'm not gonna. But if it's a 92 grade, I'm gonna go. So what's y'all thoughts about it? I got in a big argument about this.
One, I'm right here. You don't have to act like
Yeah, so I got into it with Doug about this. So what are y'all thoughts about this?
I mean, I like the idea of it because you're right. You know, when you talk about draft for need, and I certainly get it. You know, if you have a glaring need at, you know, you look at the Falcons, what they've done the past few years, they've needed an edge rusher. You know, that's been the thing, and they've seemingly found an answer to that. But if you have a really big hole at a certain spot, I understand drafting for need. But when you're talking about, you know, the middle rounds, you know, the Falcons don't have a first round pick this year. They only have a handful of picks. You really have to look at that aspect of that best player available to really benefit your team. You said it. Ian Cunningham mentioned it all day yesterday. You know, when you don't have that need right now, but that need can change very soon. We've seen that with the Falcons for 5 years now. I mean, it's been very, very present.
Hey, look, and I'm going to bring this up, and it's going to sound kind of crazy, but stay with me. I'm going to try to be real quick with it when it comes to what you're saying. We were really upset, a lot of us, about the Bijan Robinson pick. We thought Jalen Carter should have been the guy. Now, mind you, Jalen Carter's still doing amazing things. But who knew 3 years later, Bijan was going to be pretty much our best, by far, player on offense. Matter of fact, at one point, he was the damn offense.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So at a situation where they did go best player available, they didn't necessarily need a running back. 3 years down the road, I mean, Bijan carried us through a few games, bro. Like, he was the only offense that we had through a few games. And that's a situation where they took the best player available. Now, if I had to go back, I'm not saying that I wouldn't have taken Jalen Carter, but that's a situation, like you said, Ian Cunningham said, you never know what you'll need. We still had Tyler, but Bijan became our offense for a few games and a few drives, man, where he was, man, we went on one drive, 3 plays, they all went to Bijan.
And have you noticed how quickly that argument or debate has quieted down? Because I remember that. When that happened, it's like, why do you draft him? You've got a 1,000-yard rookie rusher in Tyler Algier. Since then, I mean, yeah, Tyler's great, and I love having both those guys in the backfield, but you don't hear that anymore.
Yeah, and I love Tyler.
He's great.
Let me let that be known. Love Tyler.
He's RB1 on most teams in the NFL.
Yeah, I did a rant about him. Doug had something to say about it. Doug wants to throw his 2 cents in here.
I'm just really listening. I wanted to hear your take on it more so, for real. So my thoughts is, you know, if the best pick right then is a running back, do we go get another running back? Like, that's what I'm saying.
No, not in that kind of situation.
I think we gotta go after our need.
I think what happens to that question is, if it's a running back and you know you got the best running back in the league, all right, what's the next best? What's the next best athlete? But okay, let's finish this. I got something I want to say that I'm really excited about.
Yeah. So look, when it comes to the best player available versus need, right? Can you find, like, if you look, the ideal situation is if the best player available fits one of your needs, right?
Right.
But that's not going to happen. To Doug's point, no. If you got Bijan and the best athlete is a running back, no, we probably not going to just take a running back and all we got is our first pick is in the second round. We probably not going to go running back, right? We probably not going to do that. But if you in a situation where, and I'm going to go back, in 2018, what would have been the better pick? Calvin Ridley that we picked, or picking of Lamar Jackson to sit behind Matt Ryan? You tell me what would have been a better pick for the franchise at some point. And I can do that.
Nah,
I can do that.
Hindsight's 2020.
You know what I'm saying?
Kind of flag we would have got.
No, we wouldn't have got no flag.
That quarterback. Hold
We
on
wouldn't
one
have.
second, right? They sit behind Matt Ryan while we still needed other things.
I mean, to be honest with you, it'd have been the right pick because Matt Ryan and the Falcons didn't do diddly squat.
And we not.
Sounds great
And
now,
listen,
but I'm just saying.
look, I don't want to stay here long because I don't want to make it a Matt Ryan discussion. But I will say this: Bill Belichick didn't have no problem bringing one in behind the quote unquote GOAT.
Yeah,
he didn't have no problem bringing
and Bill Walsh.
And again,
Bill Walsh brought in Steve Young.
He didn't take nobody in the first round.
He took one in the second.
Hey,
I mean, they were damn near picking in the second round every year because they were making a Super Bowl.
Hey, look, but let me say this. I want to take it somewhere else. What I'm super excited about with our new GM is that he said when he took over Chicago, when he went there with Chicago with his guys, he said they had 5 picks. They ended up with 10 picks. That's something I haven't seen the Falcons do in a while. Get more picks. We always traded up. We'd have picks and we'd give picks away. I remember we got Sam Baker, man. We traded up to get Sam Baker. I was like, man, we could have traded back and got a lineman. Yep. Talk about that, man.
We traded up for True Font. Shout out to Desmond True Font. Yeah. We traded up for True Font, and then we end up taking Alford. But guess who was right there? If we would have just waited, man, Honey Badger was right there. Now, mind you, Alford. Now they helped us get to a Super Bowl. I'm not knocking either one of them, but I'm just saying if you take a different approach, it still could have panned out good.
Yeah, absolutely. And my thing with Cunningham is the pedigree. You know, you look at everywhere he has been. Started off as a 22-year-old learning under one of the greatest of all time over there in Baltimore. You know, he goes from Newsom, there. Yeah, Ozzie Newsome. He goes from Baltimore to Philadelphia, Howie Roseman, you know, and then after that, a growing giant right now in the Bears with Ryan Poles. So everywhere he has been, he has learned some of the best things you could offer. And yesterday when we spoke to him about it, Justin Felder, he works with us at Fox 5, asked him, you know, what are the 3 big things that you took from each thing? And he offered each different perspective, you know, just being a people person, you know, working, you know, the scouting area. That was the big thing he learned under Ozzie, you know, what players to scout, how to scout them, how to do things the right way. And, you know, the thing he learned under Howie, you know, being creative with moving guys around, that type of stuff. So I really like that aspect of him and where he's coming from. Because, again, you know, going back to Terry, obviously Terry did good work coming before here. You know, I hate to give the Saints a shout out because that's where he came from. But, you know, he didn't have the same pedigree that a guy like Cunningham has. And that, to me, is huge. And in learning about, you know, what you're bringing to this franchise has been nothing but success.
You know what threw me off? I'm going to do 2 things here. What threw me off is we hired Fontenot. He was a Saint. That never sat right with me. You know what I'm saying?
Man, I wasn't worried about
Trojan horse.
Yeah, and so... But
shout out to Kate Nellis, man.
Hey,
I hope they bring him back.
No, I'm talking about... I like Kate Nellis.
He was a Saint.
I just don't like when they spy Kate Nellis. That's it. Don't spy Kate Nellis on the quarterback.
Well, we don't have to go down that rabbit hole.
I'm excited about this, and y'all not gonna... A lot of people not going to agree with me. I was excited about Thomas Dimitroff when we hired him because he had a pedigree.
He had pedigree from New England.
The Patriots, and I feel like this is similar. I feel like watching him, listening to him, he seems like a fun guy, no nonsense guy. Like he's
from here too.
Yeah, he's from Atlanta. He said he bought some shoes at
I forgot the name of it.
What's the name of the place, Doug?
Right up the road from MBS.
Freeman.
There it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so did you get a chance to watch the?
Yeah, of course I did. I'm gonna tell you what he said. Three words, man, and maybe I get the first one wrong, but if I remember correctly, these were his 3 words. His philosophy: draft, develop, retain.
Correct.
Draft, develop, and retain.
Draft your players, develop your players, and then retain those players once you develop.
Just look at Baltimore and the Eagles, man.
Yeah,
that's exactly what they do.
And I've been saying that people who watch our podcast, Falcon fans, they probably get tired of hearing me like raise up and prop up other organizations. But since the beginning, I've been praising the Baltimore Ravens organization, talking about how I love the way they do things, and I love the way the Eagles do things because they build from the inside out.
That's how you win.
Yeah, that's how you win. And then you put yourself in a position when you build from the inside out and you able to draft, develop, and retain your own players. When you get a nice nucleus, then you can go ahead and swing for a home run and bring in a Roquan
Smith. Then players want to come play for you.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a big
there
thing.
you go.
Yeah.
Like I said, you can swing for the fences, bring in a Roquan Smith to be your middle linebacker. Then you can go ahead.
That'd be fun.
You know what I'm saying? Then you can give up some draft picks or go in free agency and then kick some money to a Saquon Barkley. You know what I mean? Because you have players across that you've drafted, you developed, and you have retained. So I'm excited and hoping Ian Cunningham brings that same philosophy. Don't give up picks. Get as many picks as we can, but then make it count with those picks.
I think our first pick, he's gonna trade back. We're gonna get 2-3 more picks.
I wouldn't be surprised either. That was especially with how he said that in that press conference. You know, talking about assets and draft picks are your assets.
He says like money.
Oh yeah,
it's like money, man.
Yeah, you got to get
a lot of money.
Yeah, why not?
He didn't say money. He said another word. I can't think of the term he used, but it was basically money.
Yeah.
Well, TD, boy, Thomas
currency,
Dimitroff, boy.
Currency.
Yeah, he said it was currency.
Yeah.
Thomas Dimitroff was BMFing that thing back in the early 2000s. He was making it rain. He was making it rain.
We was throwing the currency.
We need Julio Jones. Here's everything.
Hey, we need Julio. I'm about to make it rain with draft picks. Everybody get a draft pick. But I mean, the Julio draft pick wasn't that
works.
bad.
It works.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad,
Seems
man.
like things work when we do some stuff with Cleveland, by the way. Kevin Stefanski, Alex Mack.
Hey,
I'm
Alex
just
Mack,
saying,
Super Bowl.
Kevin Stefanski. I'm just saying.
All right, let's hope.
Hey, he put something there, though.
Just saying.
And Myles Garrett.
Myles Garrett, I'm here.
Season all the way around.
Hey,
man. Myles Garrett.
Something in the water.
Myles Garrett has put it on the record that, hey, Cleveland is going to be the reason we're going to win the Super Bowl. It's always something positive. They got us to the Super Bowl before, and we're going to get to the Super Bowl and win now.
Hey, man.
Because Myles Garrett.
Give me a tryout. Let's go.
Hey, who the Braves beat for their first World Series?
Cleveland.
There we
you
go.
go.
I'm just saying. Let's go.
Hey, man.
There you go.
This some Twilight Zone type ish, man. What in the heck is wrong with Carson Beck?
That's our little saying here on the show, man. Anytime Carson would mess up, that's what I would say. What the heck is wrong with Carson Beck? We made it a thing, man. So look, he actually said that at the right time, because I did want to start talking about the big G on the helmet, man. Man, so do you think this is one of Kirby Smart's best coaching jobs this past season?
I think so. Everyone gave Kirby a bunch of hell this past year with what he was going through. And obviously, Mike Bobo, that's another discussion as well. The dude was a finalist for the Broyles Award, by the way, best coordinator in college football. So I do think, while yes, I understand some of the criticism with Bobo and his play calling, dude was still putting up a lot of points this year, especially with a very, very young team.
I don't ever criticize Bobo.
Well, a lot of people do. So
yeah,
that's a big thing. I know Bobo gets a
have.
lot of criticism. And again, sometimes it's fair, sometimes it's warranted. I understand that. But with how young and inexperienced this team was this season and some of their wins, you look at Tennessee. I was at that game. That was a game where fourth quarter, I was like, it's over. Like, they're not winning this game.
I felt the same way.
Yeah, I was like, it's over.
And that's when I said Gunner's ready.
Yeah, after that game, I was like, okay, this team can beat anybody. If they can come back and win a game like that, then I have no doubts. But I was a little surprised they ended up losing to Ole Miss the way they did in the Sugar Bowl. I do think there was some questionable play calling a little bit at the end there. But to answer your question, based on everything they did this year, going into that Sugar Bowl, everything that they were doing to that point had been incredible.
Man,
I mean, the SEC championship game. After that game, I was like, this team might damn near win the national
They
championship.
had that time off, Miles.
Yeah,
that time off. And that
There's
one quarter
something
to
to
that.
that.
I think that
There's
month
something
off
to
hurt.
Trey, it was one man that beat us, man, that quarterback. If it
Trinidad,
had been any other quarterback under center that couldn't scramble like him, we would have won because he called the right defensive plays, man. Any other quarterback would have been snuffed. You got to give it up to Trinidad.
No doubt.
Oh, yeah, definitely give it up.
So Fox 5, you said, is the official station for the Bulldogs.
Yes, sir.
Give us some insight about the dogs that we don't know, man. Give us some stories, man.
Let's see. Oof, man, put me on the spot. I got to think of some stuff here. Well, I'll say this. The players aren't as... gosh, I'm trying to watch my words here. Be careful
say it, man.
But no, I mean, Kirby, I'll say this. Kirby runs that ship like a CEO. There's a reason why he's as successful as he is. Everyone from this Saban coaching tree, I've seen sort of mimic some things that he does, but Kirby is probably the guy that does things almost to a T the way Saban does. Just the way he runs his program, a tight ship. He's in and out. When we do our one-on-one interviews with him, he's in there, he's out of there. He's trying to get the next recruiting trip going. Like, people don't understand how hard this man works. This guy is always on the clock.
Hey, Miles, we had a chance to go up to see him do the kids, the kids camps.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, man, he ran it like how he runs Georgia practice. I was like, I don't know how they run Georgia practice, but I assume he does the
You
same
can hear it from outside. I'll say that. You can see how he runs those practices.
It was like,
oh, yeah.
I really enjoyed it. Doug, did you enjoy seeing that?
No, for sure.
Yeah, I wish you could have come, Trey. That was dope.
I do think my favorite stories with Kirby and Gunner is the fact, because first of all, with Gunner, you're not going to get more than one sentence out of him when you hear him talk. Okay. Gunner is a very, very quiet guy. It's really tough to get a soundbite out of him. Nice kid, I love him to death. But it is really interesting when you hear maybe why Kirby likes Gunner so much, because he's the son of a coach. Down there in Rabun County, a lot of connections there with Bobo and Kirby. Kirby is a type of guy that can, and you saw this a lot with Stetson Bennett too. I think this was a really big difference with, Stetson, Carson, and Gunner. Gunner and Stetson were very similar in how they take coaching. You see them on the sideline, you see them in practice. Kirby will be right in those guys' faces all the time, coaching them hard, no matter how good they're playing. You saw that when Gunner scored against Auburn with some time left, Kirby was livid. Let's chew some time off the clock. Let's not score.
Yeah.
You saw the same thing with Stetson. I think Carson was a guy, not to downplay what Carson did by any means, but he was a guy that I think didn't take tough coaching very well.
He was a diva. So what you
I'm not
said?
going to say that.
Myles Garrett said that Carson Beck is a diva.
I'm not going to say it.
All right, gotcha.
But I'm just saying that I think that Carson didn't take tough coaching as well as maybe Stetson and Gunner did, which is why I think Kirby really pushes those guys and why the team kind of gravitates around those guys really well, because they respond to good coaching. And Kirby coaches all those guys like that. He's very tough. He's very, demands excellence out of all these guys. And I think that's why they are so good from top down from a depth perspective, because all these guys, doesn't matter who you are, first string, second string, third string, they are getting that tough coaching every day of the week. They say the practices are harder than the games, and you see that.
Yeah, so let me ask you this. Now, I know we haven't even made it into the spring yet. We got another commitment day coming up, right? I know they had December.
It might be today,
February?
actually.
Yeah.
I think it's actually today, because
Yeah.
I went to Cambridge High School. They always tag me in their stuff, and they just tagged me with a bunch of commitments. They have a really good wide receiver going to Georgia this year, Craig Danridge. He's very good. But I believe today might be. I think it's today. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So what I was going to ask you, even though we're not at the point where we can see the filled out picture of what the 2026 Bulldogs are going to be. Just with what's coming back, with what is coming back, and what they've done already in the portal, give us your way too early expectations for 2026.
I think they're going to be better. I really do.
It was a young team, right?
It was a very young team last year. And I think the biggest thing that fans will notice this year will be the change, or more depth rather, of the wide receiver position. I mean, last year you saw, again, we haven't seen it since, Ladd McConkey left, since Brock Bowers left. Sure, they've had some good guys. Oscar Delp certainly performed very well. And, you look at another guy like London Humphreys that's picked up the slack a little bit, but you've got some dogs, for pun intended there, coming into this group. CJ Wiley coming out of Milton, he was redshirted last year. He didn't really play a whole lot. He's a dog, 5-star guy. Ethan Barber, the tight end, broke his foot last year. He's supposed to be a big-time guy. I'm already forgetting some of these other guys. They've got a bunch of dudes out there. Sokovie White, we haven't really seen him break out yet. He's another young guy. He was up there kind of close to... where was he coming from? He's up there by Cartersville.
Okay.
But Rusty would know all about these guys. Rusty Manziel.
Yeah. Shout out Rusty.
Shout out to Rusty, man.
Manziel,
No one knows
guy.
more about high school football and the Georgia Bulldogs than Rusty Manziel. But all these guys are coming in with some experience under their belt. Gunner now has a full year under his belt. And you look at the running backs, man, Nate Frazier is really, really good.
No, he is.
I'm tired of people sleeping on Nate Frazier, man. Nate Frazier is very, very good. And you look at some of the guys behind him, Bo Walker, another guy that's coming in.
Who we were excited about because of the name,
Bo Walker. Yeah.
Bo Jackson, Herschel Walker, and one.
Yeah, it's the
At
perfect running
Georgia.
back, right? Yeah.
So
yeah.
But look, I'm glad you spoke on the running back position, because I have been one of those who I have been saying the Georgia running back position, at least from what I've seen, is not what we have been accustomed to.
Yeah. Usually you've seen that one guy.
Yeah, tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me where I'm wrong when I say, man, we what happened to the days of the girlies and the Chubbs and those, tell me the guys who are shutting me up, and anybody else who feels that way, that maybe we don't still have that kind of running back room.
Well, it's tough, right? Because you look at those guys, those are, it's almost like sort of the same argument I have with people talking about the difference between the national championship Georgia Bulldogs and the guys that they had on that defense. Nick Chubbs don't grow on trees.
No, they don't.
Todd Gurley's don't grow on trees. Even when Chubb was there, he was splitting time with Sony Michel.
Yeah, he was.
You look.
He was
back,
on the bench when he first
He
got
was, yeah. So
On the bench.
back then, people were like,
Gurley
Sony
and Michel
Michel's
started.
better, And then you had DeAndre Swift come in. He's a starter.
He was on
in
the bench,
NFL.
too.
Yeah. So all these guys, they've been good, but you don't have those alphas. It's. You've got good running backs. You really do. It's just the thing is, the Nakobe Deans, like we talked about earlier, the Jalen Carters, these guys at different position groups, the Ladd McConkeys, the Brock Bowers, these guys are not every year recruiting class type guys. They'll come once in a blue moon. And Georgia, to their credit, I do think the the NIL and transfer portal era has made this a little bit more difficult when it comes to that. It spreads it out a little bit more. You're not seeing, look at Alabama. Alabama for years, it was Derrick Henry, it was Jahmyr Gibbs, it was, Trent Richardson, Mark Ingram, all those guys that were just back to back to back to back. TJ Yeldon, all those different guys.
Hold on. This just in.
Uh-oh.
The Bulldogs have just landed the number 1 overall recruit, not for this coming year, but the next coming year. He's a junior in high school. He's the number 1 back. What's his name, Doug?
Keeman Spell.
Yeah, so with that,
there you go.
Yeah, he did, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't even I don't count them.
Why?
I don't count them to their own campus. I don't even care about that like commitments and stuff. I don't even care until their own campus.
I was about to say,
in a uniform.
You have decommitments now quite a bit.
So let me ask you about this guy right here. Tyreek Boogie Green. He won the state championship.
I covered that.
He
state
said he's
championship.
gonna come on the show. Tell us about him.
What, Buford?
Yeah, who won the championship?
Buford.
Yeah,
yes.
he came
National
from Buford.
The running back. He the one ran that long touchdown.
Receiver.
Ran right to
the
me.
receiver
I
or the
remember
running back.
it. Yeah, I was right there on the field.
He's coming in as a receiver for Georgia or running back?
I'll have to confirm this with Rusty. I don't think he's coming in as
he's coming in as an athlete.
I think he's
that
coming in
is
as
the
an
guy who
athlete.
ran the touchdown.
Yeah, that's the one. That's him.
I don't think he's coming in as a running back. I might have to be corrected on that one. But I covered, I think, 2 to 3 games of him, if I'm not mistaken. But he's a guy that you look on the field, when you see him play, Buford, they could damn near probably beat most, or not most, but
they could beat the Falcons this year.
A few college teams right now, for being honest. I went to Elon University. They could probably beat Elon University right now. So
awesome stadium.
When you see a guy that pops out of a team like that, Green right here, I mean, it's like the same thing with Buford with KJ Bolden. I got the same feeling with him when you saw him that popped out. KJ Bolden.
Bolden can definitely play.
Don't want to give Dylan Raiola a shout out as much, but KJ Bolden was a guy with Buford that you saw when both those guys came together. Originally committed to Georgia, not counting Dylan Raiola there. I was honestly more excited for KJ because KJ was a guy that, he was almost playing both ways. He was running some offensive plays, was obviously doing his thing on the defensive backfield in the secondary. He was a guy that I was really excited about, and he's proven it so far. So I'm expecting some pretty similar things at a Green, man. He looks the part. Guys are all over him. He runs through a entire crowd there in the offensive line, the defensive line areas. I mean, I'm trying to remember who they beat in the state championship game. I believe it was Carrollton. It was a de facto national championship game.
We interviewed one of the receivers from Carrollton. I can't remember his name. And he's going to Georgia.
He's going to Georgia. Yes, I know exactly. Gosh,
tall
man,
guy.
you're putting me on the spot now. I can't remember any of these guys' names at this
Ryan
point.
Mosley.
Mosley, yes. So you're saying all these guys that are coming in, they're going to have some depth now.
You're right. Have some depth on the receiver.
Yeah.
I want to ask both of you a question, man, because it kind of baffles me. So this year's NFL draft, right? You got Mendoza going number 1, right? There was a guy from Oregon, Dante Moore, to go number 2. That's what they slated him. Definitely a first round pick, definitely maybe a top 10 pick, and he stayed in college. That's kind of weird to me. Can y'all speak on that?
It was kind of weird, but I don't think it's weird anymore with this NIL era. He is up there at Oregon with all that Phil Knight money with Nike.
Up there with Nike.
And
he right up there.
Where is he slated to go?
Jets.
There you go.
That's what I think.
There you go. I think that's also another
But it's the
factor.
number 2. Do you think is it guaranteed?
Look what happened to Sam Darnold at number 2.
Went to the Jets.
Cast him aside. Now he's in the Super Bowl. I'm not saying that's what happened or what's going to happen with Dante
So is the
Moore,
Jets that bad of an organization, guys?
Man, the Jets didn't have. Do you know that the Jets didn't have a single interception all of last year?
all year, and the Falcons lost to him.
I don't think you could do that if you tried.
But they
tried.
It happened. They must have tried. They didn't have a single interception all year.
And Aaron Glenn's a former defensive
The only reason I
back.
know it, I heard some people talking about it on the radio. I was like, hold on, I got to look this up. They didn't have a single interception.
That's crazy.
All year. But look, I want to ask this question about Gunner. Like, for the people out there, if you've watched Georgia, you should be sold on Gunner right now. I came into last season, I wasn't sold. Gunner made me a believer.
I'm going to be honest with you, I wasn't either.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm sure Gunner shut all three of us up. So tell us what you're expecting to see from Gunner's game that elevates even more coming into his second season as a full-time starter.
Well, my thing was, especially at the beginning of last season, he didn't look as comfortable. He didn't look like he looked. My big thing with him is when you saw him play, he almost looked like he had a little happy feet, like he was ready to. And he has this talent, like he has the talent to scramble and to make plays out of nothing. But to me, when I saw him, first read wasn't there, second read wasn't there, he'd take off, and it would work sometimes, but maybe sometimes against the good teams it wouldn't. I think toward the end of the season, he really started settling down into the offense.
You saw you run and just get hit and throw it.
Yeah, and man, did he get hit. I think that was something with Gunner, is that he's taking some hits,
man.
And he'd get right back up. I've never seen a guy take the amount of hits that he's taken or the level of hits that he's taken and just pop right back up. So I think that he's going to be a lot more settled into the pocket now, and he's got some guys who are a lot more experienced now at the wide receiver group, some young cats who can really make Gunner look a lot better, obviously, when you're down there, in shotgun, throwing the ball, spreading the ball downfield, and you have that threat of an experienced rushing attack. I think the big thing with Gunner is he's just going to look way more comfortable back there. I think, like I said, at the beginning of last year, he just didn't look that yet, and it's hard to blame him, right? First time officially the starter of this team, and, came in at the end of the season before that. So I think that's going to be the biggest thing.
You know what I'm saying? So we got this thing called Be Rich, Be Knowing.
Okay.
Be Rich, Be Knowing that Gunner Stockton is going to be in the finalists for the Heisman Trophy. He may even
Wouldn't be surprised.
I'm saying that right here.
Wouldn't be surprised.
Now. He may win the Heisman Trophy. Be Rich, Be Knowing. Mark it.
Write it down. Write it down.
Okay. All right. Okay. Okay.
I'm sensing some doubt on this side of the table.
No.
And the reason I'm saying, I give you my reason.
I'm not down it. I'm down him saying it, but I'm not down Gunner.
But what I'm trying to say is this. You know how much confidence going into the offseason, how he's feeling?
Oh, yeah. No doubt.
He's like, I beat this. He going to come in.
Keep in mind, he was in the Heisman race for a good majority of this season,
So
too.
now, you say he has depth at receiver.
He does.
He got some dogs coming in.
Still has tight ends.
Got tight ends. You got running backs. You got a full running game. Your line's gonna be those tall 6'7" guys.
Oh, yeah.
They're gonna be all more experienced.
Those guys don't even look real
tackle.
standing next to those offensive linemen in Georgia.
I'm telling y'all, mark my words.
So look, we getting close to wind down time, Myles. We won't keep you here all day, but I do wanna touch on that A, man. I want to touch on the team with the A.
You don't like to talk about the
right?
A's, man.
Huh?
You don't like to talk about the Braves.
Who don't like to talk about the Braves?
You don't.
Okay. All right. Tell me who all on the roster right now.
We got Ronald Acuna.
Okay,
we got
you started right there, Ronald.
We got
so that's all you know.
you
can't even say the man's name. All right, Myles, let's go here.
Spencer. God damn.
He tried to make me look bad and look crazy.
Hold on, man. We got the catcher who won Rookie of the Year.
Drake Baldwin.
Yeah.
Say his name.
We got Albies. We just signed a shortstop that we really didn't have a shortstop last year.
Not for a few months, by the way. Broke his hand.
When?
Did you not see that?
No.
I believe he went back home. I don't know if it was Korea or Japan. I might have to be corrected on this one, but slipped on some ice. Broke his hand.
Yeah, right.
He's gonna be out for a few months.
He got a big contract.
It's the Braves injury luck, man. It happens every year.
We got Polar.
There go that ice again.
I saw him.
Ice trade, ice.
So look, I want to ask you this, and I don't know if you think this is a tough question or not. What do you think was the hardest World Series championship to win for the Braves? The one in the 90s or the most recent one?
The hardest one for them to win? Oh, man, that's tough. See, to me, I would say 21 because you didn't have Acuna and you have to go through the juggernaut.
Are you talking about for the whole year?
Oh, the whole year. Yeah.
What are you talking about for the World Series?
What do you think was the hardest World Series for the Braves to win? The first one in what, the 95, 96, or the one in 21?
So if you say World Series, I'm sorry for
you're good.
I would say, if it's just World Series, I would say Cleveland because we won 1-0. Game 7 or game 6?
Well, I'm talking about the whole year.
Yeah. Okay, the whole year.
To be able to get the championship.
Okay.
Whole year, I'd say 21 because of the Acuna injury, getting through, like I said, the juggernaut of the Dodgers, the juggernaut of the Astros at that point as well. I mean, the Astros were, the team of the late 2010s going.
It was magical. He ended up trading, getting. Solar.
Solar, Rosario,
all those guys.
Jock Peterson.
That was just magic.
Yeah, it was magic in a bottle, or lightning in a bottle, excuse me. So, you look back at the 95 team. Yes, that was a really hard World Series to win, but, man, look at the roster, right? I mean, you had 3 Hall of Fame pitchers. You had Javi Lopez, who's a all-star catcher. You've got Chipper Jones. You've got David Justice. You got Fred McGriff. You know, you've got a bunch of dudes who were fully healthy at that point. You know, Andrew Jones just making his start back then. So, I mean,
congratulations to Andrew Jones.
Congratulations to Andrew Jones. Yeah, shout out to Andrew, Hall of Famer. So, well-deserved for.
You know who I miss? I miss Max Fried.
Matt, yeah.
I just call him Fried.
Max Fried. Yeah, yeah. We miss Matt. They've lost some guys, man. I mean, I think that's the thing that's hurt lately with the Braves as of late is, you know, and I think that's really the big question going forward with Ronald Acuna Jr. Right? It's like,
can he stay healthy?
When this contract? Well, that, but also
what that contract going to look like,
and the contract, right? Because it's like, okay, when he's free or when he's out there, he's one of the best players in the game. But
he hasn't been.
He's
out
missed
there as much.
a lot of baseball since he started here.
Look, I'm gonna be honest, man. Like I feel like the injuries. You know, I don't like to say the injury gods or whatever, but the injuries.
They love the Braves.
Whatever it is, you know what I mean? What the bad injury clouds that have been a cloud over the Braves. I feel like they have robbed not just the city of Atlanta, but I feel like they have robbed all
Trae Young,
all
that
major.
foot.
Hey, look, but I wasn't even gonna get in that yet. I was just gonna stay on Acuna. But you're right, Trae Young in the foot. I feel like the injury bug has robbed not just Atlanta, but MLB and fans all across the world of seeing one of the greatest players truly grow into something that could have been one of the greatest players. Now, I don't know what the rest of Acuna's career is going to be like, but just me personally, I think if he never faces any of those injuries, we're seeing some real crazy stuff. I think we're seeing clearly one of the best players to play MLB and certainly one of the best players to ever put on a Braves uniform.
Well, look at it from the perspective of just the stolen bases thing. I mean, he tears his ACL again. He's not, I mean, I'm sure he's going to keep trying because that's how the type of aggressive player that he is, but he can't be that guy anymore. You can't have a guy that's stealing as many bases as he is with 2 ACL surgery knees. You know, the risk is going to be too great for what he can offer you in the outfield and what he can offer you as a bat. So, yeah, I mean, think about a guy who could be a 40-40 player every single year if he doesn't have those injuries. So it's tough.
Like I said, like just as MLB fans, period, I do think that we have been robbed somewhat. Now, there are many players who have been hurt along the years and the decades of professional sports that we can
Mike
say.
Vick gets on the cover of Madden and the knee goes away year 1. I mean, obviously his game didn't go anywhere, but still, you know, that's another year of Mike Vick that was robbed.
Let me say this before we go out. The Atlanta Hawks. Shout out to Jalen Johnson.
Shout out to Jalen Johnson.
Got another triple double win last night against the Heat. This will come out Friday. How do you like what Ansi's doing with the team, man? Do you feel like it's going in the right direction, or you feel like it's not?
It's tough because I'll say this before this season started, I loved what he was doing. Like I thought with Trey, with Jalen, with Porzingis, and you know, getting all these guys, getting Dyson, you know, should have won Defensive Player of the Year last year. I know he got an award, but the core group of guys that were coming in this past season and the trade assets that you got with the Pelicans, all that stuff considered, I thought this was the year where, like, okay, like now I'm seeing what the vision is. You're finally putting a team around Trey with a bunch of guys that have all-star caliber, you know, pedigree, that type of thing. And we never really saw them take the court together, whether that was injuries, speaking to what you're saying with the injury bug. But, you know, now I know there was rumors, you know, once Trey obviously got traded and you didn't really get a great return out of it. You had CJ McCollum, but, I mean, It's tough because now you're kind of banking on sort of that Pelicans pick being the number 1 overall pick and kind of bouncing off that. So it's felt to me with the Hawks that it's every single year sort of feels the same. It's like, okay, we're coming in with a lot of expectations. We've got a young core that, you know, is good enough to make the playoffs, but somehow always is in the play-in game. So it's tough, man. It's a team that is hard to predict and always seems to let us down, unfortunately.
They need to start calling it the Heat, Bulls, and Hawks Invitational. And then they let another team that play for the fourth slot.
That's good.
Because for the past almost 4 or 5 years, it's been the Hawks, the Bulls, and the Heat. Every year in the darn play-in, man. I mean, it's crazy. So I say this. If the Hawks, and like you said, it's always if they can if we can get a really
This
high lottery
Giannis
pick
trade
this
rumor
year.
is kind of interesting. I'll say that.
I don't think
it's going to happen,
yeah.
but it's interesting.
I think he may get traded somewhere else, but not us.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We were supposed to draft him back when it happened.
Yeah,
the Bucks
that whole story.
hopped ahead. Yeah,
because we fired Larry Drew, and then Larry Drew.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right, Larry Drew.
Yeah, he's the reason
that's a throwback.
Giannis is not here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like what Auntie's doing. Trae Young, obviously my favorite player.
Second best talk of all time.
I could say that.
For now.
For now.
I just want to see. I want to see us utilize what we need to do. We clear the space. I want to see us do something with it. I'm starting to feel like the owner don't want to go over that luxury tax type thing.
Nobody
and that's what's going
does.
on.
Yeah.
But still, we need to, like, we've never been in it.
So honestly, like, look, I'm not a capologist, and some of the stuff when it comes to the way the cap is set up now and how you get penalized for being at a certain point in the cap, I'm not even gonna speak out of my depth because I don't.
I'll be honest with you, I don't know a lot about it either.
Like, I was listening.
I feel like
to
it doesn't even exist. To be honest,
I was listening to Ansett and all this. You in this apron and that apron, and I'm just like, bro, I don't know what he's talking about.
Need like a translator for that.
You know what I'm saying? But he was giving some reasons, like he really was breaking down why, they had to move on from a Trae Young. Why you don't pull the trigger on a $200-something million contract unless you know like what the player is going to be here and do for a long period of time and how the team is going to look, because it doesn't give you any flexibility.
Well, it's like baseball, right? I mean, like, talk about the salary cap not being real. I mean, just look at what the Dodgers do every single year.
The
Like,
Dodgers
to me,
got the ultimate.
how does that happen? How do you make that work?
Century team?
Yeah,
they got Hall of Famers at every position.
You've got like 3 billionaires on that team right now.
Listen, they could almost bankrupt the major city with that.
Oh,
with
yeah,
that
100%. It's like, man, the Dodgers have a better economy than countries,
Oh man, I'm trying to tell you, man. Like that I mean, it's crazy. I mean, and the way they structure those tiniest contracts, I could speak on that for days, man. They really pulled off some foolish stuff. But I want to say thanks for sitting down with us, man.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I was going through I'm going through like I be doing my research.
Of course,
go through like your Twitter
He
stuff.
be stalking you, man. He be
As soon as, okay, you know what I'm saying. And as soon as we go to your Twitter page, you have it pinned. It is actually hilarious to me that when Myles
day
Garrett,
that'll live in infamy.
Myles Garrett put a hit on who was that? Mason
Rudolph.
Mason
Yep.
Rudolph, and people started tweeting your name. I guess they thought you were that Myles. They started going off.
I know
on you
we look
about
so
it.
similar.
Yeah, and you went and apologized. You're like, I'm so sorry for what I did last night. Please forgive my actions. I thought that was really funny.
Oh man,
I think you took it in stride and was like had some fun.
It was
with
crazy. I got on SportsCenter that night. Frank Caliendo did a skit with me. It was
awesome.
And it was funny too because like my Twitter at the time, I worked for a station up in South Bend called WSBT. My Twitter profile read Myles Garrett, also spelled with an I, not a Y. Myles Garrett WSBT, with me looking the way I look and whatever. And I'm telling you, thousands of people being like, you should go to prison. How dare you? You almost killed that guy. And I'm like, are y'all even looking at my profile? Like, I had people commenting on my Instagram of a picture of me with my buddy that said, just commenting not because of the helmet, just because of why you posted this white dude. And I'm like, bro, like, it's me. That's who I am.
I'm the white dude.
Yeah, I'm the guy.
You need to put a shirt. I'm the white dude.
I will say he did send me a signed jersey, so
Really?
I appreciate that from Myles. Shout out to Myles
Awesome,
Garrett, man. Yeah,
Shouts out to Myles.
he sent me a jersey.
Come to the Falcons. Let's go.
Come to the Falcons. Let's go.
Hey, let me tell you, I laughed about that, man. But look, we appreciate you sitting down with us. Hopefully, this won't be the last time. Can we get you back? Whether it's around draft time or it can be around, preseason training camp, something like that. Get you
that'd be
back
dope.
in.
No doubt.
Chop it up with us, man. We always have a seat for you, and the mic is always on and ready to hear your take on whatever.
Happy to come back on whenever, man. This was awesome.
Hey, we appreciate that. Well, look, everybody, like we always tell you, the Waterboyz Show, we represent Atlanta because Atlanta represents us. On behalf of myself, Trey, we got the great Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
That dude. We got B. Rich, my partner. We got Aaron. Whoa, Pittman. And
Doug.
And get better to our brother Mario, man. Get a little better.
Super Mario.
Yeah, Super Mario had to sit this show out. But look, man, we appreciate y'all. We love y'all. And you already know what it is. The Waterboyz Show. We are out.
Kill the camera.